Welcome to the Steve Wilmot Show. I'm Sean Lerman here with head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Steve Wilmot, as we get set for Week 2 of the high school football season. Neshaminy coming off of a 37-31 victory up in Montclair, New Jersey against the Montclair Mounties in Week 1. And Coach, congratulations on your first career win as a head coach.
Thank you.
So how does it feel? You've got that first win off of your back. You don't have to worry about going into Week 2 and needing that first one. So how's that as far as getting that first win?
It's important. I really wanted to get off to a good start. We have a tough schedule. The first two games are really hard. The Council Rock South, there's nothing easy about that. Our non-league schedule, it was difficult, and I really circled these first three games as wanting to get off to a good start, and we did so far.
Part of the reason for that in a very exciting game was that the offense just kept coming back every time that the offense needed to. They would go ahead, you guys would come back. But the defense made stops when they needed to as well. Maybe some players that stood out for you on either side of the ball.
Like I told our team yesterday, I thought both Mason and Will Dogba gave gutsy performances. The game didn't start off going their way. Second drive of the game, Mason threw a pick six. Third drive of the game, Will Dogba fumbled through the end zone. It was tough for them, but those two came back in a really strong way, and I'm really proud of them. Mason finished with 109 yards rushing, over 100 yards passing. Will Dogba finished up with, I think, 160 yards rushing, some really hard runs in there. So it was a real gutsy performance by them. The rest of the offense, Denzel Hughes, just kind of proved what I've been saying all along. He's a dangerous receiver. Zach Treadway, although he didn't get the ball thrown to him much, he proved that he's a valuable player as far as what he did on the kickoff returns. Jack Spengler, we named two. We go to the round table. We named our two round table guys, and those are kind of unsung heroes, kind of what we saw in the film, doing all the little things right. Our two unsung hero guys were Jack Spengler and Harmon Yolarte, just for doing the little things right. I mean, offensively, Jack caught those two hitch routes, made a couple people miss for two key first downs to keep drive moving in the second half. And then in the paper liked to talk about the offensive line, and I'm proud of them. But being their coach and being a little hard on them, there's still ways to go. And Hayden Rooney gave us a nice punch at the H-back, and Billy, I consider him kind of part of the offensive line. He did a nice job blocking on offense, and defensively, our guys did what they had to do to contain a very potent offense. You could go right down the line and talk about everyone on defense. I think Dalton Fox led all tacklers with 8 tackles, and Jack was right behind him with 7. And defensive line, we rolled a whole bunch of guys. So there's not a whole lot of standouts as far as the defensive line goes. Eddie Perry had a key fumble recovery. Jacob Gordon had a key interception. And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but right across the board, I think all of our guys, probably made a mistake or two, but all of our guys bounced back in a big way from adversity, especially in the beginning of the game, and really did well for us.
That's definitely a nice thing to see when you can get off to a bit of a slower start and then guys come back and make up for small mistakes that they made earlier. I know for me at least the biggest surprise that I was not expecting at all going into the game was 109 rushing yards out of Mason Jones. That was something that wasn't really in the playbook as much last year, but he early in the game, a couple of runs where he just took off when it didn't seem like there was anything open downfield, but then some called runs later on. Where did that come from?
Where did it come from? I mean, we're in a pistol offense. It's not a huge fullback type offense. If you didn't run the quarterback, then you would just be keyed in on that tailback, and that's definitely not what we wanted as far as, as an offense for me. You don't want them keying in on one guy. You want to really spread the whole offense out, and that was our way of kind of keeping them off balance.
As far as the defensive side of the ball, one thing that stood out to me was their top receiver, Elijah J. Robinson, a guy who has multiple offers, including Penn State, completely shut down by Denzel Hughes. Obviously, the move to cornerback did not slow Denzel down one step as he held him to 0 catches. Talk about Denzel's performance. performance?
Denzel was great. Coach French named Denzel Defensive Player of the Game for what he did. Again, it's not going to show up on the. There's not a whole lot of defensive stats that are going to show up in Denzel's name, but the key defensive stat was 0 catches, and Denzel played his heart out and did a really great job on defense.
Yeah, it was nice. I talked to Denzel after game, and he's usually a pretty quiet kid, especially with me. I don't think he wants to get too crazy, but I think I could tell by talking to him that he was pretty proud of his performance. Sure. He had a really good day. And then the special teams was really good. Dylan McDonald did a nice job kicking the ball. Zach Treadway, his returns were huge in terms of setting up good field position. People like to talk offense and defense, but the special teams also very big on Saturday.
Special teams were good. Some special teams, things that have to get fixed. Dylan's got a strong leg. We've known all along Dylan that this is his 3rd year kicking for us. He still has another year, which is a great thing. There's some things we have to tighten up on special teams, though.
All right, well, either way, it all looked very good. A big win for Neshaminy, 37-31, the final over Montclair. Next week, Neshaminy takes on Downingtown West. It will be the first game of the season at Heartbreak Ridge. We'll talk more about that when we come back. It's the Steve Wilmot Show on 1490 WBCB.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
If you are looking for a car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go for the best deals in Bucks County for all your new pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs. Go to Faulkner Auto Group. It's always Faulkner, to be sure. Go online to faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, it's Faulkner, to be sure, for all your new cars or trucks. 4427 Street Road in Trevose. Faulkner, to be sure.
Hi, Merrill Reese to tell you about our good friends at the Revere Ristorante Italiano in nearby Ewing Township at 802 River Road. I can tell you that from South Philadelphia to New York's Mulberry Street, there's no better Italian cuisine than that served at the Revere. Start your meal with one of their great appetizers or salads. Entrees include outstanding veal dishes, fresh seafood daily, excellent steaks and chops, homemade pasta dishes, daily specials, and much more. You can also enjoy their bar area, where on most weekends, entertainment is offered. The Revere also does off-premise catering and can accommodate private parties for any affair, including business functions. Call the Revere Ristorante Italiano for more information and reservations at 609-882-6365. 882-6365. The Revere Ristorante Italiano open Monday through Friday for lunch and 7 days for dinner at 802 River Road, right off the Wilbertha Road exit on Route 29 in nearby Ewing Township.
Don't forget, if you miss any of your local high school sports action, you can read all about it in tomorrow's edition of the Trentonian. For your complete local and national news 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian, or online at thetrentonian.com. The only newspaper serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County 7 days a week, it's the Trentonian.
Welcome back to the Steve Wilmot Show. I'm Sean Lerman here with head coach of the Neshaminy Redskins, Steve Wilmot. 1-0 this season after a big win over Montclair, but I have a feeling if you talk about it, that's in the past now, and you're looking ahead to Week 2, a home game against Downingtown West, a pretty good team from last season as well. Both the Downingtown teams are pretty good, but West coming in, and it's the first game of the season at Heartbreak Ridge.
First game of the year. We only have 4 home games this year, so one thing I told the varsity guys yesterday is enjoy it. There's a lot of work to do and stuff like that, but when you run down that ramp, it's a special feeling, and I just want them to be prepared and go out there and enjoy the night the best that they can.
As far as Downingtown West, what are some things that you expect to see from them on the offensive side of the ball?
They have 2 good returning running backs. They're both seniors, the Barr kid, the Riddick kid. They have this speedster at wideout that on film he just runs right by people. So again, we're going to have our hands full kind of keeping him in check. He's a very fast football player and caught, I think, first 2 touchdowns of the game against Haverford. He just ran right through their defense and just caught the nice long ball. They have a first-year senior at quarterback. His name is Matoni. They call him a dual threat. You know, he can run, he can pass it. So, in a way, there's a lot of similarities. But you know, I think Downingtown West wants to really establish the run game. You know, that's always, they're kind of a wing T type of deal, and I think they want to establish the run and then, you know, get behind you with that one fast wide out and you know, burn you that way.
So they'll have those two running backs on the field then at the same time.
Yep.
Oftentimes, how do you then, when you're looking at the defense for Neshaminy, how do you handle when both guys are on the field at the same time? You don't necessarily know who's getting the ball.
Well, you got to shut down. I mean, they take pride in running their fullback trap, so you have to, you know, drill your inside guys and your linebackers as far as, you know, how to take on the trap and stuff like that. And then it just basically comes down to reading your keys. You know, so it just watch film, read your keys in practice. You know what to expect out of certain formations, and you know, just kind of every week the defense is very similar. You know, there's things that teams like to do. There's strengths. There's weaknesses. You know, just kind of take away their strengths and go from there.
What position group for you guys defensively has to have a big week in order to contain this Downingtown West offense?
I have to say all of them. I mean, the defensive line really needs to do a good job of taking away the trap. The defensive ends need to do a good job of taking away the read option. The quarterback runs. Linebackers have to read their keys because they have to take away everything.
Right.
Obviously, the defensive backs have to keep those receivers in front of them. So everybody equal, I guess.
Taking a look at the other side of the ball, and as you're an offensive guy, you're probably taking a look a lot at Downingtown West defense. What are some things that they like to do defensively?
They line up in a odd front, a 3-4 defense, based on, you know, kind of what we did last week as far as running the ball. I expect that extra guy to come down in the box, so I really expect to see 8 people in the box instead of 7. So, you know, they platoon their guys also. You're not going to see any carryover between the offensive personnel and their defensive personnel. They have just their offensive guys. They have just their defensive guys. So they'll have all week to kind of practice, you know, against our offense. And, you know, they play good defense. They have, I think, 8 returners back from last year, so there's a lot of familiar names. And it just comes down to what it comes down to every week, and that's very similar to defense. Just run your techniques and try to take advantage of maybe some matchups you have and go from there.
All right, Downingtown West and Neshaminy will be in action. It's at Heartbreak Ridge. It's the first Friday night football game of the season as well. Should be a fun one. You can catch it on Friday. We'll go live at 6:45. I'll have all the action on 1490 WBCB, WBCB1490.com as well. And Coach, you know, we can end things having a little more fun here. It's the NFL season starting this week. Anything you're looking for this week in the NFL?
I don't know. I've always been an Eagles fan, a diehard Eagles fan. I'll watch the Eagles. I think they're an interesting team to watch. But, you know, I don't have a whole lot of time to follow the NFL,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
It's tough when you're a head coach yourself to
Yeah.
spend time looking what other teams are doing.
Yeah.
When the Eagles are on the schedule, you watch a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'll try to turn. I don't even know. I think they play Monday night, right?
Yeah, they have Monday this week.
So I won't be watching because my bedtime's pretty early.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. This has been the Steve Wilmot Show on 1490 WBCB. I'm Sean Lerman. Neshaminy again taking on Downingtown West at home. Listen live at WBCB1490.com.